What's up, dear lady and gentle nerds, and welcome to my painting a bust for the Miniac quarterly painting challenge video. My name is Hendrik, and yeah, now you're gonna follow along how I am going to paint a bust. So in case you're unaware, I am supporting Scott Walter, aka the Miniac, on Patreon, and one of the rewards is that you get to join him and hang out with other Miniac fans on the Discord. On the Discord there is always a quarterly challenge. In January and February and March it was that you should paint a skirmish game team of 5 people at minimum, and I made a video about that. And for the second quarter of 2019 the challenge is to paint a bust. I have never painted a bust, so it was actually quite welcome, and funnily enough I had ordered a bust a couple of days before the new challenge was announced. Well, actually I then decided I want to paint some other bust, and that's where I ordered this bust from Mr. Lee Minis. It's a bust from Trovarion and it's called, I think, the Rogue Robot. I really liked this bust. Well, as you see, I already started painting on it, and I found it not that difficult to paint a bust. Yes, it is bigger than a miniature, but then in all reality it is not that much bigger than a miniature. You have a lot more stuff where you can work on different kind of fabrics, for example on this mini, and different structures and stuff like that. And I was thinking to actually even try non-metallic metal and stuff like that, but to be honest I ran out of time. In the challenge there's also always the possibility to earn more points, and I thought that yes, I want to try to earn those 2 extra points too, and that would have been making a scenic diorama base for this. And I had some really good ideas and I ordered stuff for it, but as you will see in a moment, that just simply didn't work out, and in the end I will just have to present it like this, and not having a diorama base for it, at least for the moment. Maybe if in the future I feel like going back to it, I might get that done or not. So the only problem that I encountered painting the bust was probably the time management. I wasn't able to get that much painting time in this month simply because I had a lot of work and I'm leaving in a few days on holidays, and that's why I just didn't find that much time to finish it. And also one problem was probably on the motivation side, that I feel like I'm running out of time, so that I have actually not the possibility to try everything that I imagined I would be doing with this bust. And in that sense the motivation went down, and with the motivation down I was spending even less time painting. I think the problem just is that I usually like to paint things that I am using on the tabletop for games, and I'm less somebody that paints something that he is just presenting in a cabinet or something like that. Sure, I like to showcase my miniatures, but I am more of a miniature painter that is painting for playing games, and that's why also probably the motivation wasn't that high, simply because I also know I have a few games that I want to paint the miniatures for, and then painting the bust was just taking the time away from that. So that was probably the biggest problem. Another problem that I encountered with getting the bust was just finding a model that I liked. There's a huge market for them, and there were some that I really enjoyed, some very beautiful sculpts, but they were too expensive in my taste, so I didn't want to spend some 60 or 70 euros on a project like this. And that was maybe also one of the few little criticisms that crept up in my head, that I think at some point it was said for these challenges you don't need to spend any money and buy anything. And then the challenge for the second quarter came along, and all of us that wanted to participate ran out and bought a bust. Of course, I did go and buy a bust actually too, and but then again, it would have been nice if it would have been something that everyone who wants to participate in this challenge has at home. So probably more something along the lines of a normal miniature or a squad, or yeah, something like that. So because I ran out of time, I wasn't able to try all the things on the bust, and that's why I just aimed for a, I would say, subpar fast paint job, just that get it done and get the points for this thing. And maybe in the future, if I feel like I have some free time and I want to practice something, I will go back to it. But for the moment, I call this done, and I am looking forward to the third quarter challenge, and I'm curious to see what Scott will present at it. I can imagine that it might be something along the lines of build a kit, because he had a video about building a model kit just a few weeks ago. Again, I have model kits, but I would feel that that would not be very nice. I would prefer personally something more along the lines of like try a technique like a non-metallic metal or something like that, because that you can use any model you have. You can use a bust or a big model or a normal miniature, and you just have to use the paints you have and try to use a technique. I think that would be quite cool, but it's of course up to Scott, and whatever it will be, I'm sure that I will try to participate if it doesn't mean I need to buy expensive models or supplies. Well, that was my painting a bust for the Miniac quarterly challenge video. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up and maybe subscribe if you enjoyed this kind of nerd content, and definitely go check out Miniac's channel. It's linked in the description and in the in the corner over here. So I really am very grateful for the great content that Scott produces and the really positive community that he has. In that sense, thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.